years ago, there was never a co-main event. You had the main event and the semi-main event.
And then just everybody else.
Yeah, and then everybody else. So if you were the second to last fight, you were the semi-main event.
Right.
And
the semi.
The semi. Yeah, you're the semi-main event. Okay.
So nowadays, at my age, would I just call it a co-boner?
See, I was about to go on. I was going to make a similar joke, but
if it's just not what it used to be, is it just a co-boner?
I don't know, man. If it's a co-boner, then that means there's dose boners. So
either that or my mouth is just going to take care of the rest of the work, and that's the main event.
Speaking to the mic.
Eric has no opinion on that. Apparently, we're going to have to edit out the co-boner.
I don't think so. See, Eric's good enough to know when enough is enough, and we just haven't reached that point yet. But
these guys are doing a lot of kicks and a lot of taekwondo style moves, techniques, I guess you would say.
I would say I'd love to see the fight, but I've got Alabama standing up right in front of me.
Drew's
you want me to throw a Coors Light cup at him?
No, but
Christopher did offer to go over and ask the judge. Oh, wow, that was a nice spinning back kick. Threw him all the way across the ring. Definitely a TKD background in both of these guys. Somebody got upset.
Had a nice little flurry there.
There's definitely a suplex potential right here.
At the same point, though, we're seeing a lot of flashy type stuff, and you see this every once in a while, and then people realize they really need to go back to fundamentals. And fundamentals is always where it's at, whether it be wrestling, football, whatever sport. You stick with the fundamentals, and believe me, they don't look flashy, but they're definitely the things that work.
The thing I see in amateur fighting a lot that really is off is two things major: your balance and your hands, your protecting yourself. You don't see a whole lot of that in the amateur fights, and that's where a lot of the guys lose. They throw a sloppy technique, lose their balance, end up getting taken down, and then the guy grinds it out or ends up ground and pounding.
And see, that was always my thing. Like when I first started out and started getting bigger and bigger and bigger in my fights, my balance was always my downfall, because I would do that big looping right hand, and I don't know why, but it was like 4 fights in a row. I threw that big right hand, and I would fall to the ground because I would completely just like whip it, and I'd fall to the ground. Luckily, I was strong enough and smart enough to get up, and I was able to either do a takedown or recover from it really quickly, minus the one where I got a concussion and got kicked in the temple. But
the first 3 rows on the other side of the puncher, they spilled their beers on themselves.
The shockwave.
The shockwave just came right on through.
But yeah, the whole balance issue, you would think that would be a simple thing to learn, but it's really not. I mean, you got to know your body. You got to understand the dynamics of where your punch is coming from.
And balance is key.
Yeah.
I always treat it as you got your proper body position, which is everything involved in it. Then you got to have your balance.
Yeah.
And a lot of the guys that throw technique like that are trying to throw that huge power, not understanding that if with the proper technique and proper footing and body positioning and torque, that you're going to end up with even more power than you would on a sloppy punch that you're just throwing your entire body weight into.
Yeah, definitely throwing those leg kicks there.
I like that they're both throwing inside leg kicks. It's a southpaw versus orthodox style fight, so
you're seeing them, but people, those outside leg kicks get grabbed very easily. Those insides, not so much.
Do you guys really think, and it's one of the things that I've always tried to decipher, like going southpaw, I would go both. I always switch both ways. But being susceptible in a southpaw to that big right hand, is that really, do you guys think that's really a thing? Because I never had a problem with that.
It all comes back to where your foot placement is and the footwork and the body positioning inside the fight. I mean, if you've got your lead foot on the outside of his lead foot, absolutely, you can throw that too, and it's going to land before something he throws.
Right, but I mean, the way I looked at it is, obviously my strong arm is my right arm, and it predominantly, I'm going to throw my right arm. So coming out in a southpaw, jabbing, but I would do like a double jab and then a right hook real quick. and then back out of it, and then keep coming in like that. I never took a punch being in southpaw because of that.
You know what? I think it all goes in with what the fighter's comfortable with. You can't train fighters to all fight the same way and all that stuff. You got to go with the individual type strengths and weaknesses of them and stuff like that. And you know what? It's kind of like somebody who's a natural southpaw. Someone's in that natural southpaw.
What was I saying?
What was I saying? Getting that natural southpaw. You know what?
Squirrel.
What are you going to do? Treat him as an orthodox fighter and make him change? And believe me, I've seen trainers do that. Not to mention any names, Chuck Daly.
We spoke of him
who's
earlier.
Here tonight?
What's that?
He's here tonight.
Was he here?
Yeah. No, he is here.
And did you talk to him? Did you interview him?
No, but we spoke of him.
Oh, okay. So, did you talk about the Chuck Daly rule?
We did. I didn't verbalize it as the Chuck Daly rule, but we were watching the very first fight where it looked like the gentleman maybe had 3 days of training, and I said, well, Chuck would have taken him on, put him in,
and encouraged.
And absolutely, you can win this.
That's the one thing I've always loved about Eric. Like you could give two shits about what anybody thinks of you.
Well, why should you?
No, but I love it because, like, I remember when he cornered me for No Mercy and I blew out my knee, like, they said, no, he cannot corner you. The owners of No Mercy, they said, no, he's not going to corner you because they had a serious thing going on. And
that was all over Chuck Daly?
Yeah. So I was like, then I'm not fighting. And they're like, okay, well, he's going to have to keep his mouth shut. And he's not allowed to yell or any of that stuff. And that's like, you're out of your mind. It's like, I could tell Eric to do that, and Eric would look at me and probably slap me and say,
you didn't tell me that they told you that.
I didn't tell you because I didn't give a shit. But I mean, that was what I was saying.
But it's a good thing because I would have been even more so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you were very open with me and telling me, it's like, yeah, like, I don't like these people. Like, the only reason I'm here is because of you.
And I'll be honest with you, I do like them now because they eliminated that association.
They
really
stepped it up.
And believe me, they called me up and they said, hey, you were right. I said, hey, when's your next show? I'll put some fighters on.
Right.
And you know what? It's just one of those things. There's good people and there's bad people in all sports and stuff, and there's con men and all that stuff, and you can always tell they're the ones who go out there and they build up a team, and then half the people leave because they come to their senses, and then they talk about loyalty and they're disloyal and all that stuff. So,
well, and I was telling Mike earlier, there was a couple of times that I'd walk into. It was on really far South Nevada. You remember that's where he was training?
Oh, yeah.
A couple of events down there. I can't remember.
Yeah, that bingo hall.
Yeah. And there was a couple times that I went in there, and nobody was like training the fighter. And you know how close knit all that group was. There was no one training the fighters, and they were just in there like either beating the crap out of each other or like acting like they know what they're doing on bag work. And like one time I went in there. And I was like, what are you guys doing? Like, I raised my voice. I was like, what are you guys doing? And they all look at me like I'm crazy. And Louis Lloyd and, all those people. And I'm like, no. I said, you guys come over here. You guys come over here. And, spread them out in a couple of groups. And I was like, this is exactly what you're going to do. This is the bag work you're going to do. And this is the time period you're going to do it. And I sat there for the last, like an hour and a half, training them myself. And then all of a sudden, our best friend just walks in, and he's like, "What's going on?" Well, I'm training your fighters, buddy. And he wasn't too happy about that. And I think that's he ended up that card that was right after that. I had two of my fighters from DMD at the time fighting. And back then it was a lot different. It was a very last minute change for my fighters. They were like, "Oh no, we're going to put this guy in instead of." The guy he's been training for the last 2 months. Who do we have?
It was the red corner.
Yeah.
No.
No, it was blue corner.
I was looking at the red writing, but it's all red writing.
Yeah, I don't know. We weren't paying attention to the fight, unfortunately.
Like I said, we get sidetracked.
Yeah, but it wouldn't be a podcast if it was any other way.
Well, going back to our conversation earlier, we've got all the ring card girls up there, and it looks like we're looking at a Home Depot in the lumber section there.
Yeah, they're just completely leveled out boards, like the whole thing. Just
I get some of that, quarter-inch plywood.
You'd think they do a little bit of vetting before to get ring girls. I don't know.
Well, we were talking about those tough man contests earlier, and they'd always do it at the rodeo. They do the ring card girl contest like the couple nights before.
Yeah.
And then whoever showed up, they got paid.
Yeah. I remember the very first one that I did a tough man contest. It was right, I want to say, it was like my first year of college. I just came home, and all my boys were like, you should do it. You should do it. I'm like, yeah.
Okay.
Hell yeah. I get in there, and the guy they put me up against was a pro boxer. And this dude, I mean, he was a black guy, and just a complete brick house. And he was bigger than me, and I was like, what'd I just sign up for, man? And I made it through the first round, and that guy tagged me so freaking hard. I didn't know what's going on. First round, I waved off. I was like, nope, done. This isn't for me. I can't do it anymore. But after that, then I started actually getting my ass kicked in football, but working hard and doing a lot of training and stuff. So I started doing a lot more. But then it was more tequilas.
Oh, the tequilas fights.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I did one of those.
You did one? Just one?
Probably a couple of them. I think it was like Friday nights, right?
Monday nights.
It was Monday nights, and they did them Mondays, and then sometimes they did them Fridays.
I thought they did Friday night fights.
Okay.
I did like 2 or 3 Friday night fights, and it was just pure. I have no idea.
I think about 5.
I appreciate you interrupting the broadcast there, buddy.
But
yeah, they had a band thing where there was Seven Dust was a band that was coming through town.
And you opened up for them.
And the lead singers of the bands had to fight to see who got to open up for the band.
We've got the ring card girls up there. I just want to point out that Drew's favorite ring card guy is up there.
Is he in there, really?
He is. He's right over there to the right-hand side.
Lord, he sure is.
Tube sock and all. We were while you were gone, we were talking about all the ring card girls being up there. That looked like we were in the lumber section of a Home Depot.
It's flat. It's horribly flat. I think that one has a booty, and then the rest of them.
There's that one white girl that's got it.
Yeah,
and she's like,
which is a bit of an oxymoron if you think about
it.
Right?
And they can't throw for shit. They cannot throw for shit.
They're not making it past the first row. Everyone in the first row's got a shirt. At this point, they're like, here, pass it on.
If you get a shirt, would you please pass it to 3 people behind you?
It's like the offering dish in a Catholic church.
Oh, shit.
All right. Pass it on.
While you guys talk real quick, I'm going to go talk to Buzz and see if we can get him to say something.
Okay.
Sorry, bro.
So I guess we're at intermission here. So,
is that what this is?
I believe so. We're seeing a whole bunch of.
So we're only halfway through this.
I don't know if we're halfway. If we had a fight card, we would be able to see.
Wouldn't it be nice?
It would be.
so people not only would we know, but people wouldn't have to interrupt the podcast just to ask us how many fights are left.
Because that's always good to interrupt the.
Hey, there's guys with headphones on microphones. Let's go ask them what the fuck's going on. Fuck all these other 700 people. Let's go ask these 3. Craziness. It makes me, even coming to these anymore, still gives me the itch. It does.
Oh, it always will.
It drives me crazy that my body is so old.
I thought we had another guy who was going to come up and.
I know. He's confused on as to what to do. Would you like a month of free lessons, sir?
We're giving the kind of eye at him going.